Hey, Martin.
Hey, Karambu.
You're doing good?
Yes, everything is wonderful.
That's
And
great.
I think getting connected is so important. Sharing what you do and learning from others, and just feel the power of being together, even if it's via technology. That's so helpful in every respect. It's really great. Yes.
It's great, especially for a year like last year and this year when people can't travel and things like that.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of presentations in universities, in schools, and within communities, especially in the US, because that's where I went to school and that's where I have a support system for my children's home and the work that I do. And traveling was like both expensive and also like it takes so much time away from home. And these kinds of things I can do from right at home.
Yes. Yes.
The only challenge for me is that because of data and things like that, I can't have these kinds of meetings with women in my country, especially the kind of women that I work with. So I've been trying to figure out, or even with youth, because they're always saying, oh, we don't have data and this and the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've been thinking a lot about ways of doing this because it really cuts down on costs. And people share fully. I mean, you share ideas and you can go and implement them. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's absolutely true. Yeah.
And then also, I've never been.
Everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Ina.
Ina.
Hello.
Hi, Christian.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Great you joined us. Sorry, I interrupted you, Karambu.
No, I was saying that I also haven't done a lot of presentations in Europe. So this is a great opportunity just to see what happens there and to share what you're doing in Africa, because not much is known about Africa in some communities out there. And what is known is it's not the right picture. It is what the media pushes. And it's very different from the life that we lead, you know. So having trained as a journalist, I understand media messages and I like to demystify them also.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it was a great start today. So
thank you.
It's really interesting. Yeah. It's always awesome to get a chance to work remotely and see and feel how other people are thinking and working and how we come together. So I think it's a great chance.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's what Martin just said. That's just before you came in, Ina and Christine. Yeah.
Big advantage of these times of technology, even it's what is part of our discussion. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, and as Karambu said, you do not necessarily have to travel to exchange with other people. You can do this in a setting like this, which is synchronous, but you can do it very well asynchronous as well. So I don't know if you're using Twitter or social media like LinkedIn, you can collaborate asynchronously. And this is very helpful as well, of course.
And I think what Karambu just said is that we this way get the chance to really get some first-hand news or some first-hand experience and stories to hear, and not only to take things from press or from media. And this is something I really appreciate and I value from this conference, is this kind of first-hand stories and exchange that we have the chance to. Yeah.
Totally with you, Christiane.
Yeah, but one big thing that hinders not only women, but maybe women, especially women, to do this is they do not want, or they're not as keen as men to make themselves visible, to show their expertise, to talk about what they are doing and how they are doing. And I think this you mentioned this reflection. Who am I? What's my and who do I want to be? So how do you help women with this first step to develop in this respect?
Thank you, Martin, for that question. And it's really, like I said, remember, it's a process. Because in mainstream thinking and learning, we are made to think that you can do certain things just in minutes or something like that. So we understand that if the system has taken so long to condition us and program us, it will take some time to undo that work, to unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
And the process is really about unlearning, relearning, and then learning so that we can grow. So it's a realization that, yes, this is how our society has been set up. And there's nothing wrong, not bringing judgment into it. That's who I am. And so who do I want to move forward as now that I know this? So the process is about asking the question, who do you think you are? We actually have a leadership workshop that takes people through this process. And it's amazing to see what people say when you ask them this question, who are you? And they say, I'm a mother, I'm a doctor, I am a sister, I am an aunt. But you're not the things that you do or the things that society has marked you as. And so we start asking people to think about, when they say, like, I'm a mother, we ask the question, why? Why do you say you're a loving mother, for example? And we ask up to about 12 to 15 whys. Why are you loving? Because you want to help people. Why do you want to help people? Whatever you say, we ask whys until you find the thing that drives your being a mother, your being as an aunt, your being whatever it is that you say you are. There is a value that drives that. So, Martin, it's a process of always being present to, why am I who I say I am? And how did I get to this place? And once you figure that out, for example, I say I am Karambu and I'm love and light. Every time I step out of my door, it is love and light that shows Karambu as the founder of IPI, as the mother of orphans, as a woman who supports vulnerable women. That's the value that drives my work. In mainstream thinking, we have been told that you do the work. It does, you think and do, but no one talks about the beingness that informs the thinking and the doing. That's what I call Utu-ness, the humaneness. I'm a human, but there's a humaneness that feeds that being human. And it's very interesting, the conversations that we have with people as they go through this journey of unconditioning oneself. And even today, even as I was thinking about this gathering, I was bringing my negative thoughts about technology because I had a whole page of the things that technology is screwing up. Sorry for my language. And then I was thinking, no, what about all the connectivity? And like, we are here right now, and I'm meeting new people. So there's a value in looking at the positive side of things also. So anyway, long answer for your short question. It is a process, and it's a process of always being present within me, and to understand that I have to peel the layers so that I can find the beingness that informs my thinking and my doing, my actions. Yeah.
Thank you. Beingness is a very, very important aspect of this. And as you mentioned, Annie, women in, women in China, and I think it's not only in China, have to work much harder than men. They have to work from 9 to 9, and they have family and household and the mental load that comes with this as well. So maybe the state of beingness, as Karambu stated it, is a problem to handle all this. It overwhelms you.
Actually, I think, it depends on, I think I very much agree with what Karambu said. It means, what will you be? What do you think about your future? What do you really want to be? So I think this is, sometimes, from my understanding, my friends and also the client I support, even myself, it really take time to find what do you really want to be? What is your dream? From my, no matter how long you work a day, or especially it's a long day, or you go home to take care of your kids, if it's your conscious choice, if that's your what you want to be, such as if my dream is to be a good mother, or if my dream is to be a business leader, I know what I should sacrifice and what I want to work hard. I think if it's your conscious choice, when you're working hard, you don't feel hard because you have the inner peace.
Yeah.
You know why you want to work hard. I think the most important is the conscious choice for what you want to be. It's to fulfill your life purpose. That's the most important. It's not really the time, how long you work, but it's your choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, the many whys Karambu mentioned to approach your vision, what you want to be, what you want to become in life. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. And if I compare, or if I listen to men in leadership, who think that they are better in leading, but when you see them in their family, they don't take leadership. And I think families are much more complex and challenging than many teams I know. So maybe actually women are the natural leaders in the world, and they should have get the opportunity to prove this and to show also that leadership can work differently from what men do as a leader, right? And of course, Ina and Christiane and Gialu, I didn't see you yet, so I don't know how to pronounce your name rightly. Of course, you can. Hello, Gialu.
Hello, everyone. I was shutting off my video because I'm in my pajama now. It's already in the night.
That's great.
Totally fine.
Yeah. Excuse my outfit. Yeah, I'm Jialu from China as well. Nice to see you all.
That's great. Hi, Jialu.
Hi.
So I would be really interested how you, Karambu and Annie, see the future. Like, if you could pick what perfect world we could be in, so how do you see your future, the vision you're having? So I would be really interested in what you would like to see in a few years, how things change.
Are you asking question to me or sorry?
Both of you, to you, Annie, and to you, Karambu. So both of you.
Okay, so Karambu, please go first.
Okay. Okay, I will go first. Observing the climate change challenge that we have right now, the kind of world I would like to see is a world where people awaken to how the systems have I'll use the word again, how they have conditioned us. I say the tragedy of a people is when they don't know who they are. Because if I don't know who I am, I will be living someone else's story. In the African narrative, in the rest of the world, is about a dark continent with savages or natives and things like that. I know that narrative has changed a bit, but there are new words for that. I don't feel that. I feel that I'm a whole, complete, and enough human being, But I have to be a certain kind of person not to believe or to be hurt by that narrative. So for me, the world that I envision is a world that accepts, recognizes, and appreciates diversity, recognize that it doesn't matter the skin on the top, the inner beingness is the same. Mm-hmm. The essence of who we are as human beings, as plants and animals, is the essence of the thing that created it. And that's who we are. We are unconditional love. So I would like to see a world where, because if people just awaken to that one fact, when someone tells you something that hurts you, you will not waste your energy because you'll understand where they're coming from. And you understand their unconditional love, but their conditioning has covered that for them. When we're in that place, you will recognize how interconnected we are as a people and how interdependent we are. You will recognize that the life that we've lived as a global family is someone else's story until you know who you are. And until we know who we are and be that, the technology that we create will be one that will continue the separation. Like, it's amazing what Suni and Yona are doing, because a cell phone, a phone like this one, is created through certain codes. And those codes reflect the culture and the belief system of the person who created it. So when you bring the women's perspective into creating these kinds of things, games, robots, and AI and stuff like that, it will be a different story. It will be a more humane story, a more balanced story. So that's where I come from. It sounds like very simple, but I don't know why, as a human family, we haven't gotten there yet. It's so simple. Unconditional love. That's who you are. That's who I am. How do we manifest that in everything that we do every day when we show up in life?
I think it's not easy to establish such perspectives in Western cultures. We are more prone to make an egocentric way out of path out of this. So when you have a look at Western spiritual communities, you can see how patriarchal. I don't know how to pronounce this.
We know what you mean.
I think we all know what I mean. Are always come back into the way how people think. What you are referring to, Karambu, is something fundamental. And I think it is often best to talk about this in Western cultures less than more. Just do it like you do it, in a very simple way, and then you are done with it. As Stephen Fry, the English philosopher and actor, once said, you know who you are when nobody looks. I love that. To me, working on FORMWELT, presenting the Larnaca-Conferences, doing something helpful in the world, is not about talking about my motives, but just to do the thing I'm doing. But you are, of course, right that there's something fundamental behind this. And I think we have to talk, when we have to talk about this. And I can imagine that it is that is something different to do that in Kenya, for example, than in Germany. Because when in Germany you ask people who they are, of course, you get the same answers like you did. I'm a mother, I'm an office worker, I'm a manager, stuff like that. And when you keep asking, then the people lose answers, and then they start reflecting on themselves. But the answers which are coming then are very basic, very simple, and that's it. And then the work has to begin. And that is an approach I really love here. And there was something else I related and resonated very much with when you talked about who we are in a different way, as coming from conditioning systems, as coming from special cultures. I once talked to a German psychologist about the question why so many Western women are suffering from what is called imposter syndrome. And when I thought about that, there was this moment where I thought, no, we are not suffering from imposter syndrome. We are suffering from a culture that is suppressing us. It is not a syndrome, it is a fact. And when we think about this fact, we learn something about ourselves, that the fears we have, the insecurities we have, as I said, I'm coming from a very traumatized childhood. I was beaten, and I had to eat food that was not good any longer because somehow my parents thought this is something I had to learn because I did not eat this food in school. And this did something to me. And in the long run, when I think about myself now, I see that no, I do not suffer from imposter syndrome. No, I do not suffer from some anxiety that has no reason at all. It is very real. And it is there, and it defines parts of me. And the interesting thing to me is that it made me, in the end, when I reflected on this, a better person. Yeah, because now I can say this is who I am. This is what is driving me, what is motivating me to help to create a little bit a better, or at least another world. Yeah, is that I have learned these things about myself, and I went through them, and I came out of them, not really healed, but in a way completed. Yeah, completed with myself. So now I know why I'm doing things. This is the first time I'm talking about this in public, because I think this conference is something special, because it is about us women, and many women know these stories. They know about beating in their childhood. They know about even sorts of torture. Yeah. They know about what it is to be always the one being left behind, or at least the one being second. As I said, when I present our work, and I think we have done some pretty amazing stuff here, I so often experienced how people, especially men watching what we are doing, are stealing ideas from me and presenting them, and even in a less better and a less evaluated way, and the audience applauds, and I'm standing there and I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? I'm sorry for the French, but yeah, and then I think, no, I'm not a less better person. I'm not of less value. It is just the way we have conditioned ourselves into systems that are completely outdated and are now suffering from this. Yeah, so I think it was Jonah actually who inspired me to talk about my personal the experience I have made when he told us in a conference earlier that he has to do with neurodiverse problems even. And I thought, well, yes, I think we should start doing this. I think we should start talking about this because these are not weaknesses. These are experience that made us stronger, and that has taught us something that we can now teach others. Yes, and I find that even more important than to talk about spirituality, because I think we all are spiritual people. As you said, we are all interconnected. This is what we are. And we can see this in every culture. We have this John Donne who said, no man is an island. Well, no woman is an island as well. And I think that's an important part, because I think especially we women have this power for a natural authenticity that is not covered by big words. I call this pension drum speech. The pension drum was a war machine in the Second World War who did not work. It rolled down the sand, the dunes. I think it's dunes, yeah. And then it fired rockets and even almost killed the British people who have created this stuff. I think pension drum speech is also something we can get rid of and get more to the core and to the point of what we really want to talk about. And I think the first thing we have to talk about is how we get here, how we got here. Yeah, I love that what you are saying there. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Karambu and Gita. I think, from all your words, I feel even if I'm from the different country, I found it's connected together with you. It's really, from my point of view, for the women, it's really, what's your dream, who you are. Maybe I can also share my experience. Previous I worked for Nokia, because of that, when I lost my job, it's somehow, you have a good job, you have a good company in China, it's quite famous. Suddenly you lost all your labels. And you lost the income. And it's really a tough time. And also, in the China market, it's quite, as I said, lots of new internet company, but it's quite young. Looks like for women you are over 40, and it looks like it's really difficult to find a job in the internet company. But unfortunately, I'm majoring in IT, so it's a long way really for me to suffering to find who am I after I don't have the label. Yeah, but actually I think take a long time. Also I think I went through almost the similar process as Karambu said. It's the whole coaching process to find what's really my core value, what I want to bring into the world, to my family, to my work, to the people. Besides that, what do I want? I have to achieve what I want to be, and then I can support others. Yeah, I think that's the view. I found that's why I found for exploring my core value, I found supporting people and influencing people is really what I love, and I don't want to retire, such as after 50 or 55. I want to work longer, as long as I want. So that's why I choose a coach for a long time. Now, even the income is not so high, but it's good to support all the people. That's why, if talking about my dream, and also after several years, what can I see for myself? I think, when choose coaching as my second career path, I already know I will work on that for quite a long time. I will support more startup companies, also the female leaders in this company, to help them to find their strengths. What do they really want to achieve? Yeah, to have their own conscious choice for no matter it's for job or no matter for the family, but that's what they want. That's my dream. I think also I will work on that in the future, maybe many years. Also, currently we are working on is, for this one, we are working to have an international association for the global coaching. And also maybe we want to create some standards, some ethics for this global organization coaching. That's my dream. And also I think I just started working on that. And also we already have some connection with the coaching organization in Europe. Yeah. I think
we can learn a lot from you. We had Joanna Leo and Clara Wang earlier in one conference, and Clara Wang will join us in the last also. And we had Seni who in here, and to me it was very interesting how very clear Chinese women are thinking about coaching. Yeah, it's less it's less about personality development and more about the technique behind it, which leads to the same results, but I think maybe even more efficiently. So I thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can we hear a little bit about the participants here today, or did you already do that and I wasn't there?
No, not yet. It was Ina who asked the first question about the future. And Ina, did you get the answer you expected, or are there still open points for you?
I got really interesting answers. Not that I could have expected them, but thanks for sharing. I think it's really, really interesting and really inspiring, to be honest. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Maybe I can join in and ask another question, because I'm thinking now about many things that you were mentioning, and I find something in myself that resonates to all of you. Something in particular, what Gitta said was that I understood that it's also about sharing stories of our own experiences, even if they are very tough, but show what we've learned about ourselves, maybe to become a better person even.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you would say that this is even key to overcome these kind of conditioning systems, or maybe it's the first step towards that.
Thank you, Christiane. I think it all depends on the authenticity and truthfulness we are working here. Today, it is very modern, and almost everyone does it to work with storytelling. I'm not sure that that is the right way, because it always leads to marketing, and then it leads to being not honest any longer. I think if we really want to make a change, we have to stay completely honest. That does not mean we have to say everything we think, of course. that would be a little bit more loud in this world. But to me, yes, I was always reluctant to talk about love and trust and purpose and stuff like that for many reasons. The first one is they are all paradoxical, which means when we talk about this in society, it leads to the counterpoint. It leads to untrust. It leads to mistrust. It leads to hate. Yeah, because people want to be the ones who are the loving ones, and then they create groups, and they are the one who cares, and the others don't. Yeah, all these values have a high ideological range and potential. And that is why I'm very careful about this. But as Karambu did it, and we are now talking about this here, that is a completely different kind of animal. Because when we talk about this honest and without too much words, just keeping it simple, then we are only just saying what we feel, and we are good with this. And I think that is helpful, and that is something we need, because that is the way people connect. But when you make a marketing campaign out of this and make an ideology out of it and so on, then we will get the same results we always had. We know it even from Taoism, we know it from Buddhism, we know it from Christianity, from Islam, that every time we tried to work with soft values, this is how I call them, it led to war, and it led to exploitation, it led to power games. That is the danger here too. But when we keep it simple and only say, as Karambu did, I am love and light. The moment she said that, I believed her. There are not many people I believe when they say I am love and light, when they use this to get more customers for their coaching job. Yeah. So how can we do this? I think as we stated it here, when we keep it simple and just tell our stories, this is I'm doing this why, and this is not a weakness. It makes me stronger. From my perspective, for example, that I was beaten and had this horrible experience with food in my youth and stuff, and I was a bullied child also. This led to a person that is very sensitive when it comes to bullying, when it's very sensitive when it comes to violating boundaries. And that is a strength. And about that we can talk. Yeah, but we have to talk and not to make a campaign out of it.
I would really like to share a few thoughts I'm having, if I may. So what I'm hearing from you, Gitta, is also what Annie and Karambu said. It's being our true selves, basically. And I'm really privileged to work in an environment where I can bring my true self every day and where I do not have to wear a mask. And what we are doing is we're trying our best to create fearless organizations. And you can only do that when you share vulnerability. So if I'm sharing, hey, I suffered or I can't do a specific thing and ask for help, it shares my true self and also brings together our group even more. So I think that's really, really important, not to just tell a story like marketing, but just be yourself, be honest, and then you also get honesty back.
Yes, and I would add there, but do not make a thing out of it. There are many people who do not wish to share. And I often do not wish to share. I want my privacy. I'm normally a very private person. Yeah. So it must be the same thing. Yes, to show vulnerability must be an option, but it must not be something people are forced to show. So now we are all very histrionic people, and now I'm getting emotional and stuff like that. I think we should also learn to keep our distance, because often the other one shines even better if we keep our distance. I have this picture of us being stars in the sky. And the moment stars come too near to each other, they burn each other up. Yeah, and they fall into each other, and then you cannot see the other person. So distance, respect are also very, in my opinion, very important qualities in human relationships and communication.
Great. Thank you. Excuse me, now I'm going indirectly, but it's also this sensitivity maybe to context, to situation, to timing. Sometimes this is what I experience when I'm on my way in companies. I often work with women who are change representatives or leading change internally. And sometimes we come to this point of true authenticity when the person wants to show something internally, and then we like do a little sparring. When does it make sense? Or like it's like I'm sometimes a mirror of this person, and because of the experience, because sometimes it's adequate, and sometimes it becomes a little bit like it's called, like, weird, the situation when you bring it in. It's and sometimes maybe you need to do or make a step to open maybe a room for another discussion. It's for me, at least, it seems like it's also context based, about timing, etc. What we meant with, we learn to keep the distance, or to know when to keep the distance sometimes even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's very important what Christine and Gita said. We work with a very sensitive topic. We call it the gender equity and reconciliation work. And you know that all of us have been wounded by patriarchy, and who I am as a woman and who another person is as a man, or whatever they identify as, has been influenced by who we are as men and women, and and so when we do those workshops, there's a way you build the container that is going to hold the stories that will be shared. There's a way that we create a safe space, because the stories that people share are out of this world. Like you can't, I sometimes can't even believe that people have gone through some of the things, but I also have my own story. And when I share it, people can't believe that, oh my gosh, how did you make it through this?
Yeah.
So there's a way that that authenticity is critical, and creating a container where everybody already feels safe and invited. In fact, no one even will tell you. The way that the space is you feel your story is so important, because it does not only bring healing for myself, it also brings healing for someone else. So the intention is also critical. What's the intention for my sharing this story? What do I want to bring in this space? And truly, it's about us human beings just like like crying for healing, not just for myself, but for other human beings, because I know each one of us has our own woundedness. And so what Gita said is very important. And we are always very present to that. And if you don't want to share, it's always an invitation. No one is pushed. But we also have agreements that we create so that everybody just talks about themselves and their story. And then there's no judgment, and there's confidentiality issues, and there's a way that we do the agreement also. So all that is really important in this story sharing. But I will tell you that from the so many workshops I have done, story sharing is the space of healing for humanity. Because until I tell my story and I feel it has been hard, I don't want sympathy. I want understanding. I just need understanding. For my voice to be heard where it has been shut, because patriarchy has shut it down, or whatever it is that has shut it down. And that really is amazing in terms of healing. Yeah.
I love it so much. And I just thought about what you said. What do I need? I also need respect for being strong, even and even because of this. I often experience, and I do not know if you, Ina, and Annie, Christiane, and is it Jialubu? How is it pronounced?
Yeah, it's Jialu.
Jialu. What I often experience here in Germany, and do not know if it is the same, Karambu and Annie, and I do not know, Jialu, from where are you?
From China.
From China also. I do not know if you have experienced this as well. In Germany, it is often that when people hear that you have suffered, you become a less valuable person in their eyes. I often yes, as I have seen this while working with people in the German Hartz IV system. It's a welfare system where I've worked with women who have been raped while living on the streets, and they do not want to talk about this, not because they fear it would overwhelm them, but because they know then they will be raped in another way again. Yeah, because then people think, oh, she has experienced this, and thus makes her a lesser person, not a weak person even. And that's a really strange thing. And so I think when it comes to safe spaces, Karambu and everyone else here, they should be separated from everything else. It should be made very clear, this is here, and here, for example, is work. And there's my other relationships, etc. Because we cannot do this in one sweep. First, we have to respect that there are many people who do not wish to talk about themselves when they go to work. And most organizations do not wish to have the people to make the workplace a therapy place, of course. That's also, but I think we should be very careful when it comes to this storytelling, that it is made clear for everybody that we are, in fact, even stronger when we tell our stories, and the stories and the experience we have made us stronger, and not lesser person. I find this important, and I do want to hear how this resonates with you, Dialu and Christiane and Ina, if you might say something.
Dialu, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I do could resonate with that at the point, because I spent 1 year studying in Paris, and I do feel that the Europeans, at least from what I know, they're not so open to share the vulnerability or to share emotional, personal feelings. Whereas from my experience in China, especially among girls, we are very happy and just open to share a lot of little things, emotions, and everything. So that was a little bit like a not cultural shock, but some difference I noticed. And actually, not only me, but because I did my MBA in art management, and some of our classmates from other parts of the world, they also noticed this, and they decided to do a kind of like a LARP project focusing on failure, because they also noticed that the Parisians or the French, they are not happy to share their failures or their, anything negative about themselves. But they feel that when you expose your vulnerability, it actually kind of makes you stronger, and also make you, it helps you to build a connection with other human beings. So they want to do this project to invite people to come to this safer space of art or theater to share their stories about their own failures. So, and also I see the point where art could come in, as a soft medium to help people maybe gradually peel off their hard shell and become more sensitive, more true to themselves, more connected to their own feelings, and to share. Because art can make it more soft rather than just, conversing with our verbal languages. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I totally agree to what you just said, Gita, because I had been working in big corporations for more than 13, almost 15 years. And I have been invited, or had been invited to many leadership programs, so-called. And in the programs, we have, I would say, always been invited into safe spaces to share stories about us, to become a closer group, etc. And I experienced once that one woman shared a very personal story, and going back to office the next day or the next week, I would not say that it pushed in her career, but people could not divide anymore between personal stuff and business stuff. And this was, I would say, the first time that I experienced that these two things have separate places, like business place. Of course, we can share something personal here. For sure, we are human beings, and we want to, like Jalu just said, we want to connect and we want to be authentic, etc. But there is like a small gate between becoming very personal in a very vulnerable way, maybe even, and being in a business context. So I can totally agree to what you said, and this made me very aware of this kind of different context, and also taking care of myself, but also to bring others not in the situation of knowing too much, because it's sometimes hard to separate these two things. Although I also like to connect, etc. But everything has maybe its place, and the differentiation is important to where do I put what, or to show what, to connect, or in which way, and what's the context.
Thank you. What do you think, all of you, about opening up a room maybe once a quarter of a year, or every 3 months or something like that, for women to join and share their stories? What do you, in context of Larnaca-Conferences, but because this is all what it's about, that we do something, and I think that's a good idea. Okay.
And Gita, would it be maybe possible, because what I sometimes experience when it, also to keep, how did Jonah just say it, to keep it non-exclusive, to also invite men to it, or is it not a safe space then anymore? Because I'm just wondering if this creates a silo, or what would you say about it to keep it open?
My experience is that women and men are experience different sorts of trauma and stories. So I think we should start with women, and later we can think about opening up. But in the beginning, I feel that from my perspective, to become stronger as women, I think it is a good idea to start with women, and then we can see where this leads us.
I think it would.
Sorry.
I think I would not feel comfortable about sharing some of the stories I have experienced at this point with men.
All right.
I think it would be an awesome idea to have frequent rounds of women empowering women, basically, because as we have the conference with the title Women in Tech, I also feel that sometimes women are not really sure how to get into specific topics, and I think it would be really great with our expertise and us being already in some sort of technology branch to support other women, helping them to get into different topics, maybe working together with them, supporting one another. So I think that would be really great.
So as a self-help group, self-supporting group, something like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It sounds like a wonderful result of this breakout session, and concrete step to start with. Sorry, Annie.
Yeah, I actually just talking about this, share the story on country base. I think I know some communities in China. They are conducting some kind of community people can share. It's called Active Hope. They also have some global session. Maybe I can link you, get together with the leader of that one.
That would be lovely. That would be wonderful. And I think Karambu might also join in if this is okay.
Absolutely, I think it's an excellent idea. Absolutely, would be happy to join.
The name of this group was
Active Hope.
I love it. Active Hope. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a series from one of the I can't remember it's from US or for European, but it's really very good process. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is an
honor. I will connect you and the leader of them one together.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, and then I will set up a doodle and we think about the first meeting we have. And Martin, we talked about this and felt very comfortable with you here.
That's wonderful for me. I really love the idea and I appreciate this. And I wouldn't feel comfortable to join this as a man in this step. I think it's a really good idea. And as time is running, and we want to start the next session at 6:10 Central European time, we should think about coming to an end for this. Of course, you can stay in this session if you want to learn more and if you want to discuss more topics with the three panelists. But of course, you are invited to join the other session at 6:10, and maybe you need to have a break in between. But I don't want to stop you talking. I just wanted to mention the time. Maybe the next people will join us here from the other group.
I want to thank all of you for making this happen. I dreamt about something like this when it comes to this conference, and I thought maybe this was possible, and I loved your contributions, Karambu and Annie, so much. And thank you, Christiane and Ina and Jialu, for your contributions. When it comes to art, I think we should keep this in mind, Jialu, and talk maybe again, you and I, to think what we can do from that perspective, because I know some people who are might be interested in this. FORMWELT is not only about language, verbal language, but about any language. Yeah, we are speaking. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to storytelling, I think FORMWELT, the idea of knowing what you really want to say and using the words that come from your heart. That is exactly what FORMWELT is about. So this is an important step forward in my perspective in the FORMWELT universe. And I'm so grateful for all of you that you have brought your perspectives in here. Thank you so much. I will make a short break and refresh my tea. And we'll be back here at 6:10. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Nice meeting all of you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. I also join the other session. Bye.
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 Bye. Annie, will you be staying here?
I think so.
Yes, she will.
Okay. I actually wanted to ask a question. Because you mentioned you were coaching a lot of women in entrepreneurship and startups and everything in China. I just wonder, how do you find what are the major concerns as being female entrepreneurs in China?
Sorry, what's
Like
that?
what do you find are their major concerns, like major problems that they need to tackle with being a female entrepreneur or like a woman in tech industry?
I think it's mainly the identity. Currently, the female in China, they're really lots of pressure. So the 669 working official working rules. Some female even working longer than that. So I think it's really the balance from the different identity. Yeah. Is that their conscious choice to pay more attention to the work? They have to sacrifice maybe the time with the kids or with the family. Yeah.
But that sounds like they are more from the tech industry, right?
Yeah,
because,
true.
Because such intensity is very typical for the tech industry in China. And I'm just curious, like, do you coach women from any other industries or sectors?
Yeah. Also something, I think maybe that's because I'm based in Beijing. The pace in Beijing is really fast, not only in the tech, also in the other industries, people are quite busy. Yeah. Especially in Beijing, it's a high pressure city.
Yeah. And do you know that what kind of like how do they seek help, like to balance out, for example, doing sport, or I don't know, what's their way to keep their balance?
Actually, I think at least because I'm working on the coach. I know more people. They besides their work, they go out for learning something. Actually, for learning something, they get to know some people they now in their work environment. So they besides learn something, they can also have new friends. They can share their story, also learn something. It's kind of a relaxed way for them. Yeah.
And by learning, you mean not only about their own industry, like knowledge-wise, but also like all kinds of other activities and hobbies.
Yeah, such as the hobbies and also some softer skills, also such as active hope, all kinds of workshop, or even the communication workshop, or this kind of learning activity. There are lots of in Beijing. So they can also some people begin to learn some 古典文学. Do you do that? The ancient articles or Western wisdom, all this kind of community. There are lots of community. If you like, you can join and to know, people in the same community, they have the similar interesting. Yeah, so it's really you can understand each other more. There are some people is waiting to listen to you. This kind of healing. Yeah.
So they do have a very busy schedule. The 996 working schedule plus family plus learning.
Yeah, true. That's true. Wow. Also they are trying to use a fragment time, such as listening to some books when they go to the work. On the in Beijing we have to spend lots of time on the traffic.
The commute.
Yeah. So people will start listen something, when they're on the subway or something on the taxi. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah. So maybe we can meet, offline.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I actually am in Shanghai. But
are you in Shanghai, not in Shenzhen?
No. I was in Shenzhen. That's why I met with Joanna Liu, and she invited me to this conference. But then I just moved back to Shanghai. I was in Shanghai for 8 years.
Okay, so I will ask Joanna about your WeChat so we can connect to it.
Sure.
Okay, you can also ask mine from Joanna. I think you should know. Okay. Yeah, maybe I will went to go to Shanghai in December. Yeah.
Okay, we are approaching 6 o'clock in 10 minutes, so we will start pretty soon. And we have a new player with us, Markus.
Hello.
Here he is. Okay, I would like to start, if it's okay with you, with one very interesting point brought up by Karambu in the last session, showing her smartphone and talking about products built by men and then mostly built for men as well. And it's not just telephones, we have cars, we have medicine, which is constructed or designed for men by men. And of course, we need a richer possibility to design not just products, but also solutions to challenges by a wider range of contributors. Of course, women in the first hand. And the question is, of course, you have to start doing this. That's the first, I think that might be a first step to do this, to prove what you can achieve and what your products would look like, and to prove as well that maybe women would be more interested in buying such products. But on the other hand, also to prove that also society needs a more diverse approach to create products and to create solutions.
Whom are you addressing, Martin?
Well, it's the impulse came from Karambu, so maybe Karambu wants to answer first, but I'm addressing all of you.
Okay, so then I begin. Yeah, so it's important, like I said, that for me, that has been a missing link in how technology is created. And Martin, I'll tell you, I'm not tech. I'm more, I'm not a tech kind of person. And actually, I say in my next life, I will be an engineer.
Okay.
Because if I went back to high school, I would really study to understand how these things work. Because I know there's a culture of how they are created, and I don't think it's very difficult to understand that. I'll tell you why. Because my kids, 7, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, one of the older kids who was doing a computer program at the university started teaching them coding, and they were getting it like this. 8-year-olds, like they could create
So
websites, you know, like, oh my gosh. They created a catch, they created a catch website, mini website, and then they also created something else. I don't know what it's called, but they were getting coding like this. So that is when I started asking, how is this thing made? And then when I did a little reading, I realized that, oh my gosh, there are certain elements that are very very context based. That is, who is making it, where, and for what. And then linking it with all the other development narrative that we have, I started wondering how I started understanding how exclusive it can be. We are talking about inclusivity here. It's and actually it's in being in this discussion in terms of what Jonas shared earlier on and what Annie are doing, that I started recognizing, oh my gosh, yeah, there's a way that now people like this are thinking about bringing in the women's perspective, the feminine perspective. I'll call it that, because remember, men also have a feminine part of it. I mean, of them, and I, as a woman, I have a masculine part in me and stuff like that. So then the beauty of this is that I'm so interested now, Annie, in my kids developing that line of thinking, because technology is becoming a way of life, especially for this generation. And so when I look at my kids and the way I stop them from playing around with people's phones because of the other things that they can find there that I don't want them to find out yet, is how do you make that also safe for children? How do you enhance that technology so that a woman who hasn't gone to school can actually do business with that kind of technology? The other thing that I always share with people like you so that you can think about is about technology. How do you phrase this in English? I don't know. When I get the words, I'll share that also. But technology is so powerful, and sometimes in the West, it is used, as it has come to me, it is used to make things simpler because of this. Someone described it as a slave mentality, where we want technology to do everything for us. And in my view, machines cannot replace human beings, because machines are made by human beings, and the human being will put a human element in that machine. So no one can tell me that a robot that you're going to bring to me to do certain things in Kenya will do those things without influence from the person who created it. So my other thing then is, I want my girls to get into this creation so that they can bring not only a feminine aspect of it, but also a contextual element of how we think in Africa, kind of thing. So Martin, I don't know that I answered your question. I brought more questions. But those are interesting aspects for me as I work with my kids to go through education, the current education, which is very Western oriented, for people to get jobs. Mm-hmm. And even listening to Annie, I when someone thinks about what I'm passionate about, even creating your own job is a way forward. But the way we've been conditioned is you go to school so that someone can employ you. Technology needs to end is working. I see that technology is going to be one of the tools that will enable people to really create their own jobs. And if they don't get themselves enslaved by the technology again, it can free them. If you see what I mean, everything has to balance. Yeah.
Thank you, Karambu. Annie or Gitta, who wants to, or also Ulrike, welcome, or Dixon, welcome to the session.
Welcome, yeah. Annie, you or I?
Maybe I can talk about something because I have a daughter. She's 70 years old. Maybe she will go to university next year. Because in China the technology development so fast. That people say currently we don't know whether it's people control the phone or the phone control the people. Yeah, well, because of the technology, we have to work all the time. You can be reached by the people all the time, and if your position can be traced, everywhere. Any transition can be monitored. Looks like you are a transparent person in the current world. Yeah. Actually, as an IT person, I really don't know what to say. Now people are talking about the meta world, or even Facebook changed their name to the meta world or something like that. It's really, I think everything has two sides of the two coin. For me, I hope my kid or my daughter she can have more contact with the real world, because the oxygen and also the sunlight, there's nothing can replace that. Yeah. For me, actually, I know I can't force her now to use a phone or something for that. It's mainly to what I do is to try to direct her focus to something interesting, such as some sports or weekend. Such I will say, okay, let's go together in the weekend. There are some really like her to experience. There are so many interesting things in the real world you can experience compared to the virtual world. Yeah, that's my way of doing. But of course, I gave my trust to her. Such I can understand in her age, she need to know such a WeChat or something like that. She need to know this virtual world information to communicate with her friends in her age. So that's why we can have some kind of agreement. For some time she can play with her phone, but for some time we can go outside to really experience the real world. Yeah. And also nowadays, even the China government put more conditions on the time people can under 18 can play the games. It's only open to the kids under 18. 3 hours a week.
So Ulrike raised her hand, so you have a comment on this, yeah? So.
Yeah, that's true. Such as my daughter, she can only play the game on Friday evening from 8 to 9, and also Saturday evening from 8 to 9, and also Sunday from 8 to 9. Yeah. Yeah, but I think but in China, the creator culture is very there are some activities they really create something for women or for the kids, can limit their time, maybe some reminder or something for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Annie. So Ulrike.
Yeah, I just wanted to carry on with our daughters, and I'm proud to say my daughter is one of the seldom female founders, and she is has started her company this year, and she has started a platform for remote working, and it is a combination of technology and social business. So they have many aspects of social psychological things which are playing a big role now, being at home office, and at the same time thinking economically for industry and big companies that are now thinking how to make the home office world a better world, and at the same time also thinking of other important aspects as work-life balance and so on. And just to say it, not only my wonderful daughter, Valerie Kramer from Remy So, if you want to look at it, they're still a startup, but they already have an investment of 1.2 million euro. So it's even has some people who believe in them. And in the end, I just want to say the young girls in Europe, or in Germany at least, we see they are very good in education. They are the best in education, actually. And they are already very strong and have strong voices and strong networking thinking, and also diversity plays a big role. They don't accept companies anymore. The Gen Z in Germany doesn't accept the companies anymore who don't think diversity-wise, and that is not only in gender, it's also in religion, in age, and other aspects of equality. And so it's a good generation coming there, and I'm very hopeful. And I did my part as a mother and a leading mother. And I was also a alone educating mother, alone paying and educating mother. So I also had a strong life to live, at the same time being a career woman and a good mother. So I can say I'm happy to see that the young girls are taking up these things. And there are a lot of nice role models in Germany. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I wanted to thank you, Ulrike. I wanted to relate to Karambu's Karambu, what you said about what we can do, especially for women without education, to access technology. This is something. Now it's. I'm doing a little bit of advertising here. I'm so sorry, but it's not meant that way. I'm very enthusiastic about what we are doing here. That is something we will provide from FORMWELT side, that this language we have created, which can be translated in every single natural language on this planet, and is also already translated into one icon-based language, which can be accessed by people who have never learned how to read and write, by children who cannot read or write, by dyslexic people, and so on. So I think this will be in the end very helpful, because it will help to more interconnectivity around the planet, and help children and people who never had an education. When they one way or another have any contact to the internet, that is something we need here. Now, without it, it's not possible. But when we have that, we can deliver an icon-based FORMWELT language that will help there. I think that is something important. And when it comes to technology, from my perspective, especially in capitalist technology, we have this problem that we are always concentrating on making it more user-friendly. I do not think that is, we have lost Karambu. Okay. I do not think that is the best way, because when we concentrate of user-friendly technology alone and not on also challenging people at the same time. I think you were it, Annie, who said that, no, I think it was Karambu, but you may correct me, that people, the technology cannot, that AI and robotics cannot exchange people. And I totally agree here, because we all are natural born complexity masters. And that is something we will not expect from AI soon. And I think when we think about this, we need technology that challenges people, because when we do not do that, in the end, we will have people that are smarter than technology but cannot evolve any longer, because there is no technology for them to work with. Did I make my point? I think we will get a system of idiocracy, something like that, when we continue to produce exploitative technology, and technology only user-friendly and not challenging. But I'm thinking about this a lot, because then in the end we will have an economy that cannot grow any longer, because the people they are selling the products to are not smart enough any longer to work with something else. Yeah, and this is something where I think that we women can contribute a lot by focusing on the human side of economy. Yeah, that we have to interconnect, that we have our natural, that we have to work on our natural abilities, not only interconnectedness, but also our intelligence. Yeah, we women, since we have learned over the centuries, even millennia, that our intelligence is not as valued as the intelligence of men. Yeah, so I think we can contribute here. to economy and technology. And this is something I think Jona and Sunny are talking about right now. Yeah, that is something we can do. Did we lost you along the way, Karambu, or just visual?
Sorry. My internet disconnected a little bit, but it's come back now.
Okay.
So there's some aspect I didn't hear, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe Dixon or Marcus want to join the discussion with any comment or other ideas or inputs.
Yes, I joined the other team a while ago, and we had a very the discussion was very insightful. Now, I think first, one of the things that as a man, I really want to emphasize this, that Jona was talking about how men are just into the money. They really, it's the driving force for even innovation. They really want the money. And so I really wanted him to tell me how he came, how he came with that. How did he know that? And one of the things that he really said was he has been working with women, and women are actually, when it comes to thinking, they think beyond the money. Yeah. And I think this is something that is in women. And, men sometimes don't like to hear this, but it's true. Because even here, the reason why I really like working with women, it's because a woman will think about not only about herself, but also about the child and even the man. But the man, oftentimes, you'll find that he's very much into, if he can save his own skin, that's enough for him. It's true. And that's very disappointing for men. So I think we need more women. But then there was this question of how can we get, especially people in the developing countries, as people call us, how can we get them to get involved in innovation? And one of the things that we agreed there is that actually Jona said people, especially the West, they seem to be coming up with technology to solve problems that do not exist, But as long as there's money, they can even solve an imaginary problem, It doesn't exist, but they will put money there because they know they'll get more money. But then here, as I had mentioned, is that we do have problems, but we don't really know how to use technology to solve the problems. And I give a very good example the other day. I've had this within the group, the women groups. We deal with money, cash on the table, a lot of them. And one of the women was actually robbed. And so she came and said, we talk of technology. Why can't it help me, save me from, why can't it safeguard my money? I need to make sure I'm safe. So you see, for them, they can see a problem, but they really don't know how that technology can come and help them solve that problem. So Jona was saying that indeed in Africa, for example, there are so many people who have ideas, yeah, on how to solve the many problems that we have. But then we don't have the tools, yeah. So he was saying what we need is the tools to solve the problems that we have. We already have the ideas. And I actually liked the way Sunny also put it. She said, just like electricity, we don't really need to know what happens for it to produce light. Because if we went into that, it would be, if the condition was, we know how light is produced in order for us to have that light, then most of us would never have that light, So her point was, we can actually, we have the ideas to solve our problems because we know them. Then all we need is the tools to help us do that, solve those problems. So, and I think that's what Dr. Karambu is really trying to hammer. It's the point because when we do, we are going to look at the cultural aspect, which is very important. Because I believe we all need to cherish and celebrate other people's cultures. Yeah. I don't like where people come and start talking about, because for many years I've always thought our culture was not good because of the stereotypes. People tell you that, hey, you behave like an animal, and you tend to believe it. But it's now that I see actually people would benefit from our culture, So I think when we are given the tools to solve those problems, we are actually going to put that to incorporate all those aspects. So yes, that's what I can perhaps comment on this. About the women being, we also spoke about something else that, access. And one spoke about Afghanistan. It's actually, I can see her there. Okay, you spoke about Afghanistan and how you are really thinking about the women who are now almost being barred from attending school. And I was saying, since we have technology, one of the things that perhaps this conference would want to do, because again, we spoke about migration and how we can manage migration, but also we also need to look at those people who had seen the light, like people from Afghanistan. They saw the light, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from them. But I can tell you, as long as they saw it, they'll never forget how it looks like. And they'll always want to see it. Yeah. And so my point was, perhaps we might want to maybe use this conference to bring about hope and also tell them that we are supporting them, not financially, but just let them know that we are standing with them. Those women, we stand with them wherever they are. Perhaps we can invite some to a conference like this to know that we support their education and we support their struggle. So, so those are my comments. And this I'm drawing this from my experience with refugees. I worked with them for more than 10 years. And one thing I came to realize is that hope is very important. We should never let them lose hope, because the moment they lose it, they even lose themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. there's something you said, Dixon, that, for example, people from Kenya can bring into some values into the discussion and help other countries. We learned in this session earlier something that Karambu taught us. It's about dignity. Yeah, she has a way of talking about who she is in a form of dignity that has been lost in my experience in Western societies. That is something. The other thing is, I think we should talk more about how you in Kenya, for example, build social communities, how you do that, what is important there, on a more humanly level, not the technique. But there is this recognition of medicine sociology that there are many sicknesses. I do not know the other word. It's okay. I think you know what I mean. That are healing better, for example, in many African or Asian cultures, because the social structures there deliver some sort of support, where we Germans then tend to globally from homeopathy, because we need something to fill the hole in our middle, in our midst. And I think that is important that we talk about this. And I think we should consider in the long run to have leadership meetings with people from your home country, and also with you, Annie, and people from Asia, Africa, and South America, who can tell us what their communities are about. Yeah, so we here in Europe can learn something from this, because this exploitative behavior in all these first world so-called countries is creating a problem for all of us. And there, I think you are really needed. And this is something I often think about when it comes to migration. I see migration as a chance. Yeah, as a chance for the first world countries to heal from a consumerist life perspective that has no respect for the single human being. We can see this in Germany. We have a welfare system where we tell the people, as long as you have your feet under my table, you have to behave as I tell you. They do this with adult people in one of the richest countries of the world. That is patriarchal thinking, that is hierarchic thinking, that is not helpful, and that leads to many social problems in our country right now. We have polarization on the lowest complexity level you might think of. The people are at each other's throats because of Corona, which is insane. We have a pandemics, and we have these problems on top. And I think that has something to do with the patriarchal culture we have, with the exploitative culture we have. And I think people from Kenya, from Africa, from Asia, and South America really can help us here out and tell us why they do not have these problems. Because the other problems, for example, you in Kenya have, are colonialist resonance and the result of the exploitative behavior of first world countries. So you have to become our teachers here. That is my strong opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Just to respond with, I'll just use 2 minutes just to comment on what you said. It's true, we have a lot to offer, but the problem is capitalism has actually made us feel that capitalism is what success looks like, which I think is very unfortunate, because that's a lie. Because, for example, I know that in the past, every woman, for example, if a woman had a child and that family was too poor to afford milk, the neighbor who had a cow would actually ensure that baby gets milk until, and this is something that I really love to see continue. And even when I was growing up, labor. You know, people used to, like, we would say, well, we are going to this day, we'll go and till that person's land. You know, we go as a group, and when we are done, we go to the next. And you know, it's like, but this is really changing, and we hope these values we can actually be able to bring them back, because they're actually vanishing because of what I just said. People think capitalism is what will make them successful. So yes, I agree. We can work on this, and we wouldn't mind sharing with people from China, because I know even people from China, they have this belief that working together, doing things together, can actually be good for the community. Thank you.
What tickles my mind talking about, or when I hear the question, what can we do? We heard it a lot the last weeks. So what can we do? First, I think about, it's an estimation of, I want to change something. That's the first thing I question myself. Do we really want to change something? And then I'm thinking about, is the question what to start, the harder one, or what to quit for starting? Because I guess we have to quit something, and we have to accept this. And I'm not sure if starting is the most relevant question, or the hardest one, which is hindering us from doing. I guess the harder question is, what do we want to quit? And especially for us in a super wealthy country and stuff like that. So if I want to go more by bike, I have to stop, drive everything with car. Yeah. So and that's what's always on my mind in the last weeks. What do we really want to quit? And for quitting, we also have to accept the current situation. And I'm not sure if we fully accept what's going on right now. And that's what's on my mind. What I am personally willing to quit, and what we as a collective are willing to do and to quit. And yeah, I guess that's the harder question, because then we have the possibilities and the resources to start new things. But our culture has a real problem with quitting. We don't have a culture of quitting, and we have this growth mindset, and everything is growing infinitely, and that's bullshit. Yeah. We first have to stop doing bullshit, and then we can think about what can we start instead of it. That's what's on my mind.
Great, thank you. This is an absolute world premiere. I've never seen Gitta raising a hand.
Not?
Just talk.
Yeah. I have this idea. Since Larnaca-Conferences are about creating projects, I think this goes especially to you, Dixon, and I think Annie, we should talk also about this. Today, Germany, Europe, the United States are bursting with leadership seminars and workshops, where everybody is telling everybody else what everybody else already knows. Yeah. And this leads to nothing. This leads in nowhere land. And everybody is creating new theories about the leadership of tomorrow while you are already doing this. So let's kill 7 flies with one hit. What if we create a Larnaca leadership school with leaders from Africa, Asia, and South America who actually know what leadership is about in crisis. And we get some money for this. And this money we put into the projects, the charity projects we create along the way. For example, now Dixon's orphanage needs every month around about 730 euros at least for food, and they need tablets. We can think about bringing a group of leaders together, that can give advice to leaders in Germany, in Great Britain, Europe, and America, and so on a very simple level. Yeah, this is what you have to learn. This is what you have to understand. Like Karambu in her first session brought the point of what is important for her as a woman is first to answer the question, who am I? At a very basic level, and not on the level, what can I tell about myself and make a storytelling and then marketing out of it and become more customers. What do you think of this idea? Shall we try and start something like that?
Yeah, I like this idea. I mean, it's a try. But, yeah.
Yeah, Annie, what do you think?
I think this is a good question that I'm thinking about that. From this conversation, I know there are so many differences, from different countries, from different continents. But I think the basic connection for the human beings is still the heart. Yeah.
But I think there's a difficulty that seeing it from the point of view, for instance, China, and you would say a school is a leadership for China, then everybody thinks of the dictators in China, and nobody would think that Annie is our leadership coach. So the thing is, I don't know if it's such a good idea to put the country on the top, because then you always think of the leaders who are now in the moment. Also in Africa, there are lots of countries also, that's why I don't know how the word would be. The idea is good.
I'm thinking about, you have questions, ask them to people who really have crisis experience. That is what is needed. Yeah. So that the idea of the school is more the idea of a philosophical school, for example, and not of a teaching school. So my idea is to we can try it. I do not know if this will work, but we can try and put it out there and say this is something we can arrange, and ask our friends and networks, etc., if they are interested in something like that. And then people who are interested in listening to people who actually know what to do in crisis, then we can arrange something. And then those who have no experience can ask the questions, and you answer from your perspective and bring the cultural experience from your country. It might be a good start. Yeah, so without saying this is China leadership, this is not what I meant. I really mean people with crisis experience, which are coming from other countries than Germany, for example.
That's why I'm only talking about the terminus saying leadership. No? And if you say leadership and you say a country, then the first idea is for the most people that they think about the leader who is now in that country, and not from the people down to the earth. I think what I learned today is that what you were also saying, that there are a lot of good, worthy, rescuing, good basic ideas from these countries, and how the people learn to live with each other, to be social with each other, to have a heart for each other, and to think community-wise. And that is very basic. It's not the leadership. That's why I was only saying.
Yeah, I understand, but I really think that people are interested in leadership and want to know how people in Kenya do that. What would their advice be to German leaders, etc. Yeah, in order to avoid the mistakes that have been made in the past. I think that can be made clear, and it is not about political leadership or ideological leadership or stuff like that. It is just about what people have learned that works in crises. Yeah, so it's leadership advice. Yeah, that would be the better, I think the better name for this. Thank you, Ulrike.
And the idea is to do some leadership advice, consulting, and raise money for the village, for example.
For example, right. And whatever projects come along the way, there will be more and more. And I think we should bring people together. We have seen this, that leadership in Germany often means something very detached from the ground. Yeah, and that is something I think where people from Kenya, for example, can be of a lot of help. Okay, so we try this. I will think of something, make a proposal, send the proposal to you so that you can have a look at it and tell us what you think about this, and we can work on this together and then see where it leads us. I know we all have a lot to do, so.
Yeah, I think Peter, I think maybe Joanna, she joined another session. She can, I think she's working on something like this.
Wonderful. Yes. Yeah. With Joanna, we have to think about the translation problem. I think then we should have a Dolmetsch translator with us. Yeah, who can work as I think it's a simultaneous translator, something like that must be the translation. But that is a lovely idea. She has a lot of experience there. Yes, thank you. Dixon, you wanted to say something.
Yes, I just wanted to highlight the importance of perhaps this conference of having people to follow up on the COP26. Well, it was not a very good. The results. The communique was not very. It was not what we were expecting, but at least something came out of it. And perhaps you may want to now build an alliance and see whether you can actually serve as brokers, if I can use that terminology, because I think despite the fact that they said they are not going to give any money to the developing countries, I think in terms of investment, I think they will start doing it and even supporting a little bit. So I think I just wanted you guys to try to connect with people who share our vision and see whether we can also get, for example, the women, how can they be involved in this? Like I'm hoping maybe to use the network of my women groups to plant 16,000 trees. I can't be able to do that alone.
No.
But with these women, I just give them the trees and then they'll take care of them. They plant and take care of them. And, you say 16,000, even if I wanted to do it, how long would it take me to do that? But now, look, I have a network of people. So I think you may want to find out more about that so that we spoke about the climate change and we know what it's going to do, even pushing people out. And not only from the developing countries, even, developed countries. You saw what's going on in Canada, So that's the highlight I wanted to put across. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely.
So I'm absolutely flashed as we have a concrete result for this breakout session as well. It is much more than I ever expected. And thank you to you all for your contribution on this. And unfortunately, time is running. It's running as even faster the older I get. Maybe you can share this experience. Yes, so thank you all very much for your participation here, for contribution with your ideas. And yes, I think we will make a follow-up and see what we can really try. And yes, we can try.
Yes.
We can nothing more but try and see and learn from it and see what happens or what we can make happen. So thank you very, very much. Have a nice evening, or what time of day ever you have, place you are.
Annie will fall into her bed immediately. Yes. Is it 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, it's true.
Wow.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's an amazing time, amazing night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.